The hoop season is here. We've moved on past football, and now it's time for basketball season. Welcome to Jump Street, our hoops podcast for high school basketball on the Storied Rivals Podcast Network. Will Ford here. I really want to appreciate you making us part of your day. And we're starting out with the Maysville Panthers boys basketball. Head coach Dave Brown will join us here in a few minutes. Had a great season back in 2022, 2023, winning an MVO title, a district championship, and they were also state ranked. Just a great year. Now this year's team is a little bit younger. They have some more youth on this squad. But to highlight the start of the season, junior Alex Bobb, who sacrificed football. He was an important part of the Maysville Panthers football program for the last couple of years. He sacrificed football to commit to basketball this year, and he just eclipsed 1,000 career points. So right now, a living legend for the Maysville Panthers basketball program, one of the best players that they've had come through the program all time. He eclipses 1,000 points to start the season. Coach Brown talks about, this stretch early on in the season, playing 4 games in 11 or 12 days. And, how do you prepare for that? Obviously, you play your brand of basketball, but how do you work in film study and doing some install things at practice and doing all of that when you only have maybe a day or so to prep for teams when you play so many games in such little time. And then we also talked a little Christmas as well. Christmas coming up in a little over a week's time. So exciting stuff with head coach Dave Brown here on Jump Street. But thanks so much for joining us. Here is Coach Brown hyping up his Maysville Panthers for 2023-2024. All right, we're here with head coach Dave Brown for Maysville boys basketball for the 2023 hoops season. Coach, really appreciate you taking the time to join us this morning. And I mean, your program last year obviously had a really great year. You won a league title, a district title, state ranked, phenomenal season. But highlighting the start of this season for you, Alex Bobb, a junior, reached 1,000 points for his career, which is obviously pretty special. Anytime a player does that for a school, usually they're one of the best players all time. But he sacrificed football this year to kind of commit to the basketball program and develop his skill set and just be a much more valuable asset for your basketball team this year. But just talk about the job that he's done, getting shots up in the gym, working to be an incredible scorer and basketball player for your squad, obviously helping you out last year in a terrific season, and hopefully helping you do it again this year.
Yeah, Alex is, a wonderful, wonderful young man, puts a lot of time into his craft. He spends a lot of time in the gym. I mean, he shoots hundreds and hundreds of shots every day. And, I think that was a hard decision, him not playing football, because he is such a competitor, and he knew he was a big part of the football team. And, he just really wanted to focus on getting better and giving himself a chance to play college basketball. And, again, like you said, he's one of our all-time greats, and, he'll go down, as one of the best all time here, in my opinion. So.
Now, the early part of your schedule, I think, is kind of interesting because you're in the middle of kind of like a 4 games in 11 days, 12 days kind of stretch, which early on in the season is not too bad because, teams are fresh and ready to go. But I'm sure it's kind of hard to prepare for teams that way, though, when you play so many games in a short period of time like that. I mean, like how do you get film in for all of these teams? I mean, a lot of times you're maybe only getting one day to prep for a team before you start playing them, and then really you're on to the next a day later. How do you do it, and then how do you get your team ready to do something like that, where you may only have one day to focus on a team, but then you have to go and play another game? Like how do you scout? How do you watch film? How do you install things during the week to not only you're prepping for one team, but you're also prepping for 3 or 4 teams kind of at the same time?
Yeah. And, our mindset going into a game, the Maysville Panthers, we play full court man. We run and jump. We play fast. That's our style. You're not going to see us stray from that style too often. Do we scout other teams? Heavens, yes. We hand out scouting reports. We break down clips at the end of practice. We take about 15 to 20 minutes on each team, showing some of their blobs, baseline out of bounds, some of the stuff they like to run. We'll have our JV team in practice, imitate whatever team we're playing that night, and we'll practice guarding their favorite 3, 4, 5 actions or offenses that they're going to run the next night. So, but I would say the majority of our practice is focused on what the Maysville Panthers do. We like to shoot a lot of threes. So we shoot a lot in practice. I mean, if we're not getting 200 to 300 shots a day in practice, I'm not going to sleep very well at night, because I know
Right.
we're shooting 25 to 30 threes in a game. We better be able to knock those down. So, again, we focus on ourselves a lot. Maybe take 15 to 20 minutes to think about what the other team does, because if we do things the way we want to do them, the way we're supposed to do them, I think we're gonna be successful that night most times. So, but yeah, I mean, scouting's huge. I mean, Coach Cox, my top assistant, does a great job. He loves creating scouting reports. Across Ohio, he's probably got one of the best scouting reports in the state. And obviously, I send him my notes that go along with that, and he loves that aspect of the game, and clipping films and going over scouting reports with our kids, which helps me a lot. So I can focus a lot on what the Maysville Panthers need to do. So.
Right. Now, I don't want to look too far into your schedule, but next week you have a big MVL matchup against Tri-Valley. I think a lot of eyeballs are going to be on that game. It's going to be a packed house. It's on the road for you, and I just a big game in the MVL. And I just feel like Tri-Valley historically, they've always been founded on playing great defense and getting out in transition. I mean, it sounds basic and simple and easy, but I feel like every team, wants to do those things for the most part, but I just feel like that's kind of at the core of what they do is defense and get out in transition and play fast, like you like to play fast. But without, obviously you've got a game this Friday that you're preparing for, but that Tri-Valley game
are not going to overlook, the Riverview Black Bears.
Sure.
They're playing good basketball right now. They just won, at home over West. So, my focus right now is on that game. Now, have I seen Tri-Valley? I have seen Tri-Valley. They're very, very good. They return a lot from, a regional team. Todd McLaughlin is, one of the best coaches in the state of Ohio. He's a great teacher of defense. I mean, they run the Princeton offense. They've got some really, really good basketball players. They're strong. They're athletic. They've got a great team. So, I have seen them play, and they're a good club. So.
Now, at what point during the season, because obviously it's early on, and it probably takes a few games to kind of get into your flow, get into your rhythm, and maybe shake off a little bit of rust just from not playing so much live basketball during the summer in a real game-like situation. But at what point during the early part of the season do you kind of expect your team to be what you expect it to be, where you're in full flow, everyone is playing at their best? Obviously, some nights you have off nights. That's just the way basketball ebbs and flows. But
Absolutely.
At what point during the early season do you expect that the majority of that rust to be shaken off and you're in the full flow that you talked about, running up and down, shooting threes, hitting threes, and playing with explosive offense?
Yeah, I mean, our focus this season, we've got a little bit of younger team. We're playing 4 or 5 freshmen and sophomores. They're really, really good players. They work really hard. But this is just varsity basketball is a different pace. Every time you step out on the floor, the other team is trying to beat you. It's tough to win a varsity basketball game. So to me, like right now, my focus is on getting better every single time we take the floor, whether that's in our, our breakfast club, in our book study, and in a film session, in the weight room. Everything right now is about, just getting better. And I know that sounds simple, but we want to get 1% better each practice. We had a rough game at Coshocton. They were ready to go. They kicked our butts. They were excited for that game, and they beat us. So I think that was a lesson for our young kids, that you can't take any team, any game for granted, or you're going to get beat. Or they've got a chance to beat you. They're trying to win the game too. And we've got a little bit of a target on our back, I believe. From having a successful season last year. So everybody's got Maysville highlighted on their schedule. They want to beat the Maysville Panthers. So in terms of I feel like our teams have always gotten better over Christmas break. So hopefully going into early mid-January we start to show a lot of progress from where we were at the beginning of the year. But I just think with young kids, we do have some experience back. They've been through some battles. But with young kids, it's a learning process right now. And I feel like we learned a lot from last Friday. Not saying I want to lose a game by any means. That's a tough one, especially losing at Coshocton, where I played high school basketball and I still got a lot of friends that go there. But I thought we really had the guys' attention for the next couple practices, and Tuesday we responded well. I've always said our program is at its best when our backs are against the wall. If for some reason our guys like adversity, and they use it to motivate them and get better. I guess that's kind of how I am as a coach and as a person as well. I like to fight through adversity and just prove people wrong, I guess.
Yeah, they say pressure makes diamonds, so hopefully that's what the season turns out to be for you. But you mentioned getting better over Christmas break. With Christmas coming up, I guess I got to ask the basic questions of like your favorite Christmas stuff. Like, what's your favorite Christmas movie? Is there like a Christmas Day, like a favorite like dish that you like to eat, like at Christmas dinner, like that kind of basic fun stuff?
I would say my favorite Christmas movie is probably A Christmas Story. I used to watch that with my grandparents.
Fair, classic.
My kids like to watch that. So my favorite Christmas dish, I eat a lot. Probably ham. I really like ham.
Fair.
over the Christmas holiday. So I'm looking forward to that. And our guys like to get in the gym on Christmas Day and get shots up.
Really? So on Christmas Day, you guys are out there working, huh?
They're going to want to be in the gym. Hayden Jarrett will be back from Marietta. I'm sure he's going to want to get in there at some point. So
right,
which is always good to get some of your former alumni. I actually set a time each holiday. Everybody says I'm crazy, but I'm like, hey, if I don't set this time, I'm going to have 10 different players texting me, hey, can I get into the gym from 9 to 10? Can I get in from 12
right.
to 1? So and I was the same way when I was a high school player. I wanted to get in the gym on Christmas just to get some shots up and celebrate the holiday. So it's just a little bit of a Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve tradition that I give the guys an hour if they want to come get shots. Obviously, it's not mandatory; it's a holiday. Some of them might be traveling out of state,
right?
But I just do that kind of selfishly for myself, so I'm not in the gym the entire holiday, and I have kids, so
right.
For them, we go up to see my family in Coshocton. So, but yeah, it's always good to see the guys, especially former players that are playing in college that want to come in and get some shots, and we'll talk for about 10 minutes, and then they'll get after it. So. Yeah,
they don't let that ham digest long, do they? You have some ham in the afternoon. You go practice, get some shots up.
Yeah, we've got a lot of guys that like to shoot the three, so they understand that you want to be good at that. You got to practice it. So.
No, that's fun. I love that. Well, Coach, I really appreciate you taking the time this morning to just chop it up about some hoops, early start of the season, talking about Alex Bobb reaching 1,000 points, and just kind of, I guess, a preview of what's to come for your Panthers in 2023. But looking forward to talking to you in the future. Best of luck against Riverview Friday, Tri-Valley next week, and Merry Christmas to you, and a Happy New Year as well.
Yeah, you have a good one. I appreciate you having me.